I once knew a man who was very well known. He was admired by many people in the medical profession. He once asked me, "Why do all these college students waste so many hours at the church on Sunday morning when they could be exercising?" I proceeded to explain to him about my faith and how it fits into priorities in my life. He was not impressed. He confessed to me that he does not believe in God. I asked him, "If you yourself came upon undeniable proof of God, would it make any difference to you?" He said no. Some people don't want to know God. Some people don't want to believe that He exists, despite anything. And if they found out that He does in fact exist, they would rather not have anything to do with it. This is beyond being reasonable versus unreasonable. This is a wishing to have nothing to do with God. I ask you now, if you yourself came upon convincing evidence for God, would it make any difference to you? Think about it first. Some don't like the idea of God. They feel that if there is a God, then that makes them as slaves to Him, taking orders, following rules, not being able to live the lifestyles they wish to live. Some don't like the idea of God because they had bad experiences with their own earthly father, a bad childhood, and it bred hatred toward the father figures in general. What is the truth? If you have listened up to now, and you have a reasoning mind, and an open heart, and I know you do because you were perfectly made by God, consider these words. There was a message in the Bible that Jesus had shared concerning the relationship between a father and his son, to illustrate the relationship between God and His children, whom He loves. One day, there was a son, and he was not interested in his father, and he wanted to go his own way and live however he wanted, without rules, and according to whatever lifestyle he wanted. He asked for his wealth, his portion of his money from his father, and went on his way. Eventually he ran out of money and found himself living in filth, realizing how good he had it when he lived with his father. He proceeded to go back to his father, saying that he would even be willing to be his father's servant, as long as his father would take him back. And what was his father's response? His response was this: "But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him, and had compassion, and ran, and fell on his neck, and kissed him. And the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven, and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son.' But the father said to his servants, 'Bring forth the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this is my son who was dead, and is alive again. He was lost, and is found.' And they began to be merry." You see, God the Father had compassion and fell on his neck. A father, a loving father who was waiting and waiting for his son to remember him. That when he saw him, he ran to him to the point that he even fell on his neck. If you want to read more about this, look in the Bible in Luke chapter 15, verse 20. Jesus was explaining the love of God for His children, those who love Him and seek Him. Well, you ask, what about having to follow His rules and His commands? You listened up to this point. Could you just lend me your ears, and I will explain it to you. There was another time when Jesus had such compassion on 10 men who had a really bad infection known as leprosy. He healed all 10 of them because He was so merciful and had such compassion toward them. After they were healed, only one came back and fell down on his face at Jesus' feet, glorifying and thanking Him for what He had done. Jesus was moved with compassion toward this healed man's response. But He then questioned, "Wasn't there 10 of you who were healed?" You see, our great God expects us to have the same love and compassion that He has for us. Just as an earthly father expects the same love and compassion back from his own children, God is not a furious dictator, as many would like you to believe. The truth is simple, and it's in the Bible. God is a father to many, and He has rules that He expects us to live by, because they are based on ethical principles concerning what is good and what is holy. It is right for a father to have high expectations for his children when it results in good things for them. A father knows it best when they are near to him. It's best for them to always be near to him. If you want to read more about this story, you can also look in the Bible in Luke chapter 17, verse 11. God is a wonderful God. He will fall on His neck running to you, and in His heart He would hope you would do the same for Him. And I want to finish this brief discussion by saying to you that He did indeed fall on His neck running to you, carrying a cross over His shoulder, beaten and bruised and nailed to the very same cross. They mocked Him and said of Him that He was no God and that He wasn't even a man of any value. Little did they know that He did come for their sake, and that He was their God. Indeed, He is our God. This is the true story of Jesus. Will you have the patience, the mind, and the heart to lend me your ears for the next discussion? Please stay tuned. For now, if there is even the tiniest faith in your heart that there may in fact be a God who loves you dearly, more than anyone in this world, do you think it might be worthwhile to look into it? May God open your heart and grow that good seed inside you. Trust me, you cannot be disappointed, and I will pray for you to our God who listens to our cries. Amen.